One of the questions that tends to give people the most difficulty on the LSAT game section is when they have a question that asks what will allow the complete composition to be determined, or which of the following, if true, would allow only one acceptable scenario. There's a couple of different ways that they ask this question, but essentially it's asking us for what will tell us the position of every single variable. Now we've kind of jotted up a quick version of a game just to kind of illustrate this. When you're dealing with this type of question, there's a specific way that we're going to deal with this, and that is the correct answer on these what will determine everything needs to do two things. Number one, it needs to be something that is true in only one option, meaning there can only be one of our possible diagrams where that can occur. And number two is within that option, it has to make it so we know everything, and the way that I talk about this is it has to lock down all the wiggly bits. And the wiggly bits are things that can change positions. For example, these two positions would obviously be wiggly because you could have x before m or you could have x after m. And we can't have any of those remaining. So lock down all the wiggly bits. So with this, we're going to go through and kind of show you how you would use that strategy on this one, assuming these were our diagrams. You can study those for a minute if you want, but here are our answer choices. So we start off with Q is fifth. Now, Q is fifth, we check our two options, and with true in only one option, here Q is third, Q fourth, Q fifth. So it meets our first condition, so that would be a yes. But unfortunately, it doesn't lock down all the wiggly bits because T and S would still be interchangeable, and so it fails on the second. Next, S is immediately before W. Now, S immediately before W, if we look at that, that could happen in our top right-hand option or in our bottom left-hand option, giving us two options, and therefore it fails the first test, and you don't even have to check the second test. Next, so if you wanted to cross those off, you can. Next, Q is immediately before W. Well, there's only one of our three major possibilities where Q is right before W. However, that could occur in two of the three possibilities. You could have Q right before W with X fifth, or you could have Q right before W with M fifth. So it's not true in only one option, and so when you're looking at only one option, that also includes if you've scroll set out some possibilities as well. So it fails on the first one. We don't even have to check the second. Then T is exactly two spaces before X. So we need to go T space X. Well, as we look, that can't happen in our top left, can't happen in our top right. In the bottom left, that would make it so that we would know where T is. And so it's true in only one option. There's only one place where it could occur. So it meets the first condition. And then, if we know where T is, if it's two spaces before X, that would lock down all of the wiggly bits, because T and S are the only wiggly bits in that. It meets both conditions. That would be our correct response. Now, if we check E, it says that T is exactly two spaces after X. And so in that case, the tricky part about this is, while that could happen in our top right, which would lock everything down, it can also happen in our top left. And so it fails on the first condition, and therefore is not going to be our correct response. And so that's how we walk through those. When it's saying what will guarantee all the positions, or what would allow only one option, or what makes it so everything is known, the way that we're going to answer that is simply by checking those two things. Is it true in only one option? And does it lock down all the wiggly bits? So with that, hopefully you can do a little better on those.